Autism. I remember when one of my grandsons was rather young. I was watching him play and thought, that young man's wired a little differently. Later on, he was diagnosed as autistic. His mother became his major advocate, coordinated with schools, arranged for programs, assistance. Some of the teachers really came on board, considered it a project worthy of their efforts, and he became essentially a pioneer in his school, establishing procedures for helping young people manage this particular condition. During the course of her studies, my daughter began throwing some literature at me, and over time I came to recognize that I too have some characteristics of autism. I remember in growing up, I often felt that other people had the rule book and I did not. I didn't quite understand how to fit in with other people, how to function. It was challenging, it was difficult, but I was fortunate in that even in my very young childhood, I had a good instinct for survival and a ability to read people at least a little bit. It's a skill I developed over time because, well, when you're a bit different, that's a valuable skill. I grew up without anyone really knowing what this was. I was just a little weird, a little different. I have very little social need. So the drive that causes most people to engage with other human beings is not present in me, at least not very strongly. I have to exercise it as a choice, as an act of the will. That presents enormous challenges because a lot of people can sense that you're not genuine. It's not like I'm being a liar. I am just trying to live among other human beings and not experience some of the real negatives that come your way when you're a bit different. Going to school was challenging because, as I recall, other than places where there were some exceptions in teachers, most played to the middle. So if you weren't a fairly average student experiencing life in a more common fashion, you kind of got left by the wayside. Not intentionally, it wasn't a meanness, it's just, it's a perception. I imagine those who, what they call neurocommon, they have not the ability to understand what it's like to see things differently, to have the structure of your brain be a little different and therefore require a different approach. Practically, we can't expect an educational system to be able to meet every single need, but I think there are trends to do better now. I hope that's the case. In any case, when you are different and you're growing up, life has its challenges. I managed to overcome them. I managed to do rather well, really. What could have been a detriment may not have been a particular strong asset, but it did not prevent me from establishing a pretty good lifestyle and reaching a point where in my older years I'm content. I have a sufficient number of resources. The biggest challenge, I think, is the fact that people do not provide me with the kind of energy that an extrovert gets. In fact, all of my interchanges with other human beings are at a cost. There's a deficit. I don't know how to create a life where I can fulfill the responsibilities I've accumulated and still become the recluse that my heart really desires. But I've learned to compromise, to manage, and as I said earlier, I'm content. I can't really give other people a lot of advice. You essentially have to find your own course, and probably knowing yourself as well as you can is one of your key tools. Anyway, I wanted to share that particular experience. There might be future videos with specifics dealing with aspects of growing up or adulthood from a what they call a neurodivergent perspective. Anyway, that's it for this video. Thank you.